605-341-5361. See us at our new location, 710 North La Crosse Street in Rapid City.
Sometimes it's just a whoops, sometimes it's a oh no, and sometimes it's an all-out ah! Whatever it is, J&J Truck and Auto Body can take care of it with traditional methods or paintless dent repair because they are a PPG certified and I-CAR Gold class shop with ASE certified technicians. Plus, they work with your insurance company, saving you time. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
J&J Truck and Auto Body, 100% guaranteed.
It's officially patio season in downtown Rapid City, and there's no better place to soak up the sun and the good vibes than at Que Pasa Mexican Cantina. Tacos, tequila, burritos, and beer, and good vibes all day long. Que Pasa is your hometown hangout, and we have a smoking deal for you. Mention you heard Rob on the radio and score a $2.99 house margarita any day, anytime. Limit one per customer per day, so don't miss out. Offer available for a limited time. Swing by, sip something special, and celebrate the season at Que Pasa Mexican Cantina.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hulk Hogan passed away this morning at the age of 71 after suffering cardiac arrest at his home in Clearwater, Florida. Perhaps Hogan's most iconic moment of the ring came at WrestleMania 3 in 1987 when he body slammed the 525-pound Andre the Giant.
Look at this! He's I don't believe it! I don't believe it! Oh, dropping a big leg! Over for the cover! It's over! Unbelievable! I never thought it could be done, Gorilla!
In the NFL, New York Jets quarterback Justin Fields dislocated a toe on his right foot in practice today, but Fields is expected to be ready for the regular season opener against the Steelers. Baseball today, the Baltimore Orioles won at Cleveland 4-3 despite 2 home runs by Stephen Kwan. I'm Isaac Lowenkron.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate.
All right, good Thursday afternoon to you. How are you? You doing all right? We're back and ready. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. Let's bring some energy today. Last day for the show this week. Let's make it happen. Thursday means it's happy hour. Rob Kagron's coming in as our guest host, national radio host Rob Kagron, the famous Rob Kagron. It's in tonight in the second hour. Let's get started. It's always a great day in South Dakota, and the Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio and also streaming on X at Nate Brown Show. Welcome in. Interact with us on the show. We check that throughout the show. Follow us and watch us live on X at Nate Brown Show. That's the follow. And YouTube is live right now, The Nate Brown Show. Subscribe to the channel. You're good to go. Thursday edition of the program looks good. We're going to go local, regional, national. Local, regional, national with some great guests tonight. Let's look at it. Mike McFeely is going to drop in from North Dakota. We always have Mike McFeely on, and I've got a question for Mike. How would he value the FCS football programs these days? If you've been following the show this week, I went through my FCS top 5 most valuable programs when it comes to football. The Athletic did this for the FBS level. I didn't see anybody do it for FCS. I thought, how about the Nate Brown Show does it for FCS? I had my top 5. So I threw a text out to Mike McFeely. He's covered NDSU, the Missouri Valley, a long time. I said, how would you rank FCS football as value right now? Which brands are the most valuable? So we'll get it from Mike McFeely, see where he's at. Inforum.com columnist live from Fargo. We will go to Craig Maddock tonight. Haven't had Craig on this week. Let's do it. East River, West River hitter with Craig Maddock from SDPB Live. And James Merilat's on from Broncos training camp. A live report. James went out to the Broncos camp today. Fans are going to show up in Denver this weekend. What's the report from James Merilat? I did see he was going to give the record. He's already seen he's already seen enough. He's going to give the record for the 2025 Broncos. So let's have him do that tonight. James Merilat covering the Broncos training camp today with denversports.com, 104.3 The Fan. All right, local, regional, national, good stuff there. Happy hour's coming up next hour. Hang on with Rob Kegron as our guest host all next hour. Packed Thursday show, that's how we like it. Let's get you on if you want in. 605-720-1067. Be a part of the show there. 605-720-1067. You got the number. That's the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline. Powered by the Pizza Ranch, East 10th Street, Sioux Falls. Drop by the buffet tonight. Also in Brandon and 2 locations in Rapid City. The Pizza Ranch, home of everyone's favorite buffet. And hit us on the Barron's Wilson text line. Text the show, 605-720-1067. One more time. Barron's Wilson text line for you, 605-720-1067. All right, what's happening in sports today? Well, nationally, you had a huge, huge name. Now, it's in a sport that some people say, well, this is wrestling. I'm not here to debate wrestling today. One of the all-time legends who carried this sport, Hulk Hogan, passing away at age 71. Did you watch wrestling as a kid? How much do you watch wrestling now? Now, I'm asking this because, I think we all watched wrestling when we were younger, right? If you're an 80s, 90s guy, Hulk Hogan was the man. And then it went on from there. He carried that whole thing. Entertainer, so much energy, and then I hear about all the positive stuff outside of the ring. So Hulk Hogan, one of the all-time legends, just a massive name. And when you characterize a sport and somebody that carries it, Hulk Hogan is to wrestling as Michael Jordan is to basketball. That's very fair to say, right? So I was a wrestling kid, not a wrestling adult. But I was a wrestling kid, and watching that whole thing, it was quite something. Quite something what Hulk Hogan did in that sport, and his career, just unbelievable. 71 years old, cardiac arrest, one of the all-time legends, Hulk Hogan, passing away today. I got a listener text on that, or a listener reaction here. Let's check this. Nate, you should make a question of the day about the Hulkster. Well, I don't know what question of the day to make about the Hulkster other than all-timer. There's no debate like, well, how big was Hulk Hogan for wrestling? Well, he's the all-timer. I know there were some big names. He was like, you think, I could say this. Who's the first person you think of when you think of wrestling? I don't care if it's even today. Who's the first person you think of when you think WWE, WWF, WCW, the whole, that whole run over the years. Who's the first person you think of? Has to be Hulk Hogan, correct? It has to be Hulk Hogan. So I don't think there's a question of the day other than wrestling's not as popular, not near as it was. And I don't think that's just because me now, as an adult, I don't watch it. I bet if I had sons, I'd probably be watching it. I was the guy who waited in line to go to an event in Montana and made signs for the Steiner brothers. I was that guy. So I was into this thing back in the day. Not so much anymore, but I'm interested in how popular did Hulk Hogan make wrestling. He made wrestling like mainstream. That was when it was a huge sport, and he was a huge brand. He was the all-timer for wrestling. That's all I have to say. I can't think of... I know there's Randy Savage and there's Ric Flair and there's other names. They're not close to Hulk Hogan in American fame. For that sport. Listener text, let's see. It's clearly all fake, but still cool to watch. I know. I was into it as a kid. I really was. Listener text, I watched it all the time growing up, not so much now. Loved Hulk Hogan. And Nate, I'm really, really looking forward to James Merilatt's report from Broncos training camp. Okay. All right. We're ready. Let's see. Listener text. I went to Sturgis back in the day and watched Hogan, Macho Man, and Dennis Rodman. I was in the front row. Wow. How was that experience at Sturgis at the rally? I do remember that. I don't know what year that was, but they did some wrestling stuff at the Sturgis rally, and we got a front row listener. Okay. All-time legend. It's been that week. Ozzy Osbourne passing away, 76 years old, and now Hulk Hogan, 71 years old. And that guy, just goes to show you, you never know how this all going to pan out. That guy was still looking pretty strong, and I don't know his whole story and his health, but he looked like a pretty good in shape 71-year-old. Let me go to a South Dakota sports story that I think we have to discuss here, okay? I think we have to discuss. This is something that's under the radar now, but leave it to Matt Kearney, the great researcher and producer of the Nate Brown Show, to find an interesting story that's going to be discussed next week. What's going to happen is they're going to have a board meeting next week. We're talking South Dakota High School Activities Association, okay? So let me bring you up to speed. South Dakota High School Activities Association board meeting next week, and they're going to do a first reading, okay, getting into the weeds here, but first reading on some policy changes. And if you remember back to state tournament basketball this year, specifically to the Class A girls tournament at Black Hill State and Spearfish, Sioux Falls Christian took on Mapaya-Luta, and it was Sioux Falls Christian winning. It was a tight game, a really good game. And then you had the Sioux Falls Christian fans storm the court, essentially run onto the court before the trophies were awarded. You remember this now. We covered this. And that's against the rules. You're not supposed to be able to do that, and you're not supposed to award the trophy and everything else. That was supposed to be the policy. Well, now the Activities Association is going to look to change that policy and really in a substantial way. So here's what's coming up next week. This is a first reading. It doesn't mean it's all set in stone, but they're like, hey, we got to get this storming of the court thing under control. And this relates to other sports that are doing this now. The SEC has big fines. The ACC is just putting in fines, okay? So when you think about this, I think the Activities Association saying, we got to have a strict policy. We don't want fans to storm the court at these state basketball games or soccer, whatever the sport, and so we got to do something here. So here's the first reading of the policy change they're looking at doing in South Dakota high school sports for state events. This meeting's next week. They're looking at ejecting any fans who get onto the playing area prior to the awarding of the medals and trophies. So if those fans get onto the playing area, they're ejected, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, you can't get out of the court. You're ejected. But here's the other one. Here's the one that they added as well. The offending school will be fined $1,000, and they'll have to pay the opposing team school to school. School to school. This is the policy change that they're looking at regarding spectators entering the playing area prior to these awards. So if you take this all the way back, I've been covering high school sports in the state quite some time. I've done a lot of state championships. There used to not be any policy, really. Kids used to storm the field at the Dome. Yes, kids used to storm the field at the Dome. Do you remember this? They used to do this, get down out of the stands and storm the field. They storm the courts all the time at basketball tournaments. Well, this policy went into place quite some time ago now where it's like, let us do the awards. The Activities Association folks are out there. The administrators are out there. The game's over. They win. Let's do the awards. Let's do the medals. Get the other team off the floor. Now you can celebrate with your student body and your fans. But I believe this policy change came up for this next week for the Activities Association. I believe this because of the situation in Spearfish at the Class A girls tournament. That's what I believe. I don't know that for sure. It just seems like, hey, we had this incident. Fans got onto the court. We had a little controversy. Weren't supposed to do the medals. They did the medals anyway. People just said, hey, this isn't right. And now they say, let's make it strict. Let's make some changes. And I'll ask you the question of the day from a high school sports standpoint. What do you think of that policy change? They'll read it next week. And I want to ask you, what do you think of the policy change? Fans get onto the court before the awards and medals, $1,000 fine from that school. And they're paying, not the Activities Association, they're going to pay the other school $1,000. Will that work? Is this the right way to stop this in its tracks? Okay, let's go to the question of the day on the Nate Brown Show. Interesting high school sports subject. So, essentially a new idea. Fine high schools in South Dakota if their fans end up storming the court before the state trophies are presented. What do you think of the idea? I'd like you in tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show, 605-720-1067. That's the line. Is it a good plan? You're like, hey, you got to do something because you can't have this. It's a dangerous deal. That's what all these college conferences said, too. Hey, we got all these fans storming the field and stuff and these big upsets, and there's going to be incidents, and there have been. So we're going to do a $100,000 fine. Well, let's bring it back to South Dakota level. They're going to do a $1,000 fine. You pay the other school. Are you good with it? That's interesting to me. I don't think we've had a huge problem with it. I know you can't continue to just let it be loose because then it's going to start happening a lot. So I wonder if you could, it's like, well, now we're going to take another step here and we're going to have a school pay another school. Is that going to stop this scenario? Here's my worry. I don't know if the administrators can stop it. I mean, the $1,000 fine because some students potentially rush the court, I don't know if you're going to be able to stop that. You know, there's like two administrators, and it's their responsibility. Can you stop a bunch of high school kids from being goofy, and then you're going to have to pay the other team $1,000 now? I don't know if this deters it or not, because I don't think the students really care. It's not their money, essentially. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, how's it going?
Good, man. What do you think?
Hey, so, it makes sense. You know, you take away something fun and exciting and that the kids like to do and put something boring and that nobody wants to stay for. That's a great plan.
Okay, so you're saying let the kids have fun.
Well, I mean, isn't that what it's about? I mean,
it is. I don't mind it. I don't know if we can have storming of the courts. Maybe we can. I don't know.
You know, it probably only happens like several thousand times a year, and there's probably one incident. You know, so
not a bad percentage.
Incident is what we hear about. So
that is right.
I get it. No, take away the fun.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you. Thanks for getting in. Some good sarcasm there to start the show. It's an interesting point he's making. He's saying it's just fun. Yeah, let's not get too serious. But they're going to get, I mean, that's rather serious. Policy change next week at the board meeting. They're looking at doing the $1,000 fine payable to the opposing team here in South Dakota if your team fans rush the court at a state event. What do you say? Let's see. What's the big deal with storming the court? There's a lot of people are coming this way. Listener text. They will eject people after the tournament. That's lame. A bunch of party poopers here. Hire more cops or security if it's a big issue. Well, that's one thing, because this basically left up to the administrators. So whoever's kind of the administrator helping host the tournament, like that one in Spearfish, I mean, it's up to them. And so they're like, well, you got to stop this. Well, I don't know if you can. And I wonder if the $1,000 fine will it even make its way to the student body? What do you think they're going to say? Because it's usually students, right? It says fans, but it's usually students. What do you think of the $1,000 fine issue? Listener text, nobody can have fun anymore. For years, they stormed the court at the State B. Have a line of security at a high school game? That's stupid. Well, you got to have a little bit. You got thousands of fans. So I don't think there was like, here's the thing how it happened at the Class A girls tournament. Here's how it happened. Sioux Falls Christian won at a buzzer beater. They ran onto the floor, and then they kind of, got around their players. They're jumping, they're doing this, and then they took them off, kind of. They did the awards, and then people said, well, you weren't supposed to do the awards. That's a policy. And now they're like, well, we're gonna have another policy now where we're actually gonna fine the schools that do this. What do you say? Let's see. The poll question says 75% of you are voting. This takes it too far. 75% of you say the activities board meeting idea takes it too far. 75%. 25% say it's a good plan. Just stop it. Heavy weighted to let the court storming happen, or at least don't fine them. What do you think Craig Maddock's going to say? He's at these state events. Craig Maddock, is he under fire at these state events? Has he ever been court stormed and forearm shivered? Craig coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Save big on everything for your next project.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. For all kinds of people, all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Santa came early. Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July event is so great, even Santa's shocked at the savings. Get 20% off plus no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. That means no payments till 2027. Renewals Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Santa's not waiting till December to get new windows and doors. Neither should you. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Locations throughout the region and at our Ortho Express walk-in clinic when you don't have time to wait. We're here when you need us, working as a team to make your comeback stronger than ever. Getting stronger, getting better, getting you back to your best self. The life of an athlete has its uncertainties, wins and losses, injury and recovery. In the Black Hills area, athletes can always count on Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, here for whatever moves you.
Building your Black Hills dream? Builder's First Source in Rapid City, Spearfish, and Hot Springs has you covered. Top quality materials, product expertise, all your building needs in one place for materials and services. Just stop. .com. Builder's First Source. Build it.
Being in business has its rewards as well as its challenges. It means being the first one in the door in the morning and turning off the lights when you leave at night. Your business is unique, and you need a bank that understands your needs. You deserve the best. You need a financial partner that is invested in your success. You need Pioneer Bank and Trust. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome back into Your Sports, Your Show. The Nate Brown Show is on Thursday on Fox Sports Radio. Happy Hour is coming up with Rob Tegron live in studio. Get ready for Rob. National radio host Rob Tegron coming in every Thursday on the Nate Brown Show. We'll shoot a lot of stuff around tonight. We'll go to Broncos training camp with James Merilatt. He's live out there. He went to practice today. How do things look? James Merilatt's coming up from Denver Sports. Mike McFeely's on tap from North Dakota tonight, columnist for Inforum. First, it's Craig Maddock, our first guest on a Thursday night. SDPB, longtime sports broadcaster and a Nate Brown Show Mount Rushmore broadcasting candidate. Craig, how are you?
I'm doing great. Kind of been thinking about. I've heard some of your conversation already today.
Oh.
And first with Hulk Hogan. Okay.
Yeah.
I loved Hulk Hogan.
You did.
Hulkamania.
Okay.
And when I was doing a radio show several years ago, I never got the Hulkster when he was in Sioux Falls, but you know what? I got Rock and Roll Buck Zumhofe a couple of times on the radio show. In fact, one of the times he was so, let me rephrase this, he was so out of it as far as trying to stay with the sport. He was an old guy, and he was putting together like outdoor wrestling shows up in Garrettson.
Oh,
but anyway, but I talked to him. He was great. But the great Mean Gene Okerlund, the announcer,
yes,
he's from Sisseton.
Okay.
And I interviewed Mean Gene Okerlund on my radio program in Sioux Falls while he was going through a drive-through car wash on 41st Street. He couldn't make it to the studio in time because he kind of got blocked in the car wash on 41st Street. So we had a good time. So that is my experience when it comes to wrestling. But I loved Hulkamania, and going back to the old AWA with Vern Gagne and Greg Gagne and all those guys in Minnesota. So it's fun to rehash that, but a sad day for wrestling fans.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan passing away, 71 years old today. Mean Gene, you got him on your show. But he had to call in, yet he was in Sioux Falls. It sounds like some of my guests. They just can't quite make it on time. I got to go. Okay, I want to know, did you get into wrestling when you were younger, Craig Maddock? I said I did. And that was Hulk Hogan, and it was Ric Flair, and it was all these WCW and WWE and all these different names and different structures. I did. I haven't watched it for a long time. Were you a wrestling fan as a young man?
Yes. Now, I don't watch it today, and I really don't get into it now. But, back in the 80s, like I mentioned, when Minnesota had the AWA with the Gagnes and the Hulkster and the Claw and all those guys. I mean, those were fun days. And that was right before wrestling got really big, when the Hulkster left the AWA and made it off to the WW, whatever it was at that time. Right. So I enjoyed it. I really did. It was fun, but the past 20 years now, I haven't really gotten into it.
Okay, I think I have this right. I watched the WWF, I watched the WCW, and I watched the WWE. I think I have that right. It's Steiner Brothers and Sting and all of these guys. All right. Craig, I want to get to a high school topic that you would have an interest in. So you've done state championships now for a long time, state basketball tournaments. The Class A girls tournament this past year in Spearfish was a great game, Mapia Luta and Sioux Falls Christian. Christian wins it on a buzzer beater. It was really tight. The fans ran onto the court. You're not supposed to do that. You have to wait, awards and trophies, and then you get to come out of the court. So that was a big deal, and now I think this is trying to get tweaked again, the policy. They're going to talk about it at the board meeting next week about fining the schools that do this $1,000, and they're going to have to pay the opposing team, and all of those fans that get onto the court will be ejected. What do you think of this policy change? They're going to read it next week.
I know they're trying to do something, but part of it starts with where the tournament is being held. You don't have the rushing of the court problems at all in Rapid City or at the Denny in Sioux Falls, because a lot of those are gated off already. At the Monument, It's gated off. Pretty hard to get 100 kids jumping over the gates trying to storm the court without a bunch of people stopping them. Northern is something different. Spearfish is completely different because you got the Pentagon in Sioux Falls would be different because you got the stands, right there on the floor. So I understand what they're trying to do. Now, I've been to so many tournaments where I have tried to avoid being run over in years past with the storming of the court.
Okay.
To me, I was, I had my head on a swivel because I saw things coming. But, I always think first about the opposing team and the problems that they're going to have getting off the court. It can be kind of treacherous. I kind of like storming the court. I think you could work it out where it's a slow storming of the court. But I understand that the association is totally looking at liability. You only need one person to trip on the floor coming onto the storm and breaking a leg, or someone falls and someone jumps on them. There's a lawsuit waiting to be happening. So it's all, the association is totally looking at this as a liability issue. I've always enjoyed the storming of the courts. I've never been run over, but there's been a couple of times where you got to really watch out for it. The closest I came was when the O'Gorman-Yankton basket, where O'Gorman made the basket and it counted.
Yes.
And it really didn't. We didn't have replay then. I almost got run over by a blue-haired grandma from Yankton who was yelling at me to change the score.
So, come on. Is that a true story?
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, true. That's a true story. True story.
Okay.
I was because I had just gotten done interviewing Derek Roby right after that play, and I'm heading back, and the storming of the court is there, and Yankton people are also coming over there. That one was a crazy type of storming.
That was in Rapid City. I do remember that. But you're so nimble, you did not get hit by the blue-haired grandma, so that's...
Sly as a fox, even at this age.
Here's a serious question. Does the $1,000 fine make a difference? I have a real question about that. I don't think the students, which they're the ones that storm it outside of blue-haired grandmas, I don't think the students are going to care about a $1,000 fine. Does that move the needle?
It's a start. Now, basically, I think what it will do, it will get the athletic director of name your school here, and if they're at championship night, they're going to probably get maybe 3 or 4 educators from that school, or maybe they'll get some parents to help out to try to prevent the kids from storming the court. But it's a start. But the biggest problem when it comes to storming the court is the facility itself. We really don't have to worry about it in Rapid City or Sioux Falls at the big arenas.
Craig Maddock on tonight, SDPB, longtime Sioux Falls broadcaster here on the Nate Brown Show. I want your read on this story that's not getting a ton of attention, but I noticed it here. Football season's getting ready to go, and Sisseton is not going to play a varsity schedule. This just came out this week. They're going to do JV. And so they said, well, it's dwindling numbers. And then I heard their coach on Fox Sports Aberdeen said there's all sorts of reasons, kids that are too young going up against seniors and stuff. Sisseton had about 35 players last year. That's an 11B school. And now they're not going to play a varsity schedule. What do you think when you hear that?
Well, I always say there's always six-man football. I mean, I've been promoting six-man football for a long time, and you know that, Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about it. I think Class 9B should be six-man football. You have two classes of nine-man, and you have one six-man. But again, you have some schools that, Sisseton wants to stay 11-man, right? They are not going to change. It depends on their enrollment, but, they can always get a waiver on that if they have to or want to. It would seem to me if they don't have enough to have an 11-man football program, well, can they have enough for a 9-man football program? And there are a number of co-ops out in South Dakota that struggle to get 9-man football programs. Why not make that 6-man football?
We've had teams now every year, I think the past few years, that just don't do a season now, and it's like right before the season starts. I mean, it's like then the schedules are made and the whole thing. The Activities Association, they tried figuring this out. How can they stop this? Because this has happened with 9-man schools and now an 11-man school. They cancel it right before the season.
Yeah, well, some of it maybe is they can't stop it. It's other things that are going on beyond what they can prevent. But certainly, you would think before the schedules come out, and they come out fairly early, you have to be deciding what classification you're going to be in.
Yeah, Sisseton not playing a varsity schedule that came out this week. Craig Maddox on tonight. Hey, I got one more. This is from an athletic director in South Carolina. I saw him say this, and then I invited him on the show this week and had a great discussion. He said his opinion. He's at a school in South Carolina. It's a little different than bigger population, the whole thing. He said high school football and basketball coaches should actually be full-time employees of their school. They are too much expected. Too much time, too much pressure. They should be full-time employees, not teachers and not other jobs outside of the school. What do you say?
Yes, they should be full-time employees as educators, not as full-time coaches.
So you're okay with educators still trying to coach. He told me, hey, there's too much to do, too much expectations from parents and fans these days. He said if schools really invested in it, that's how they should do it.
Not going to happen because we all know that the schools in South Dakota, they're not making any money for that kind of coin.
I am with you on that. I said, well, good luck, but South Dakota will not be doing that anytime soon. Craig Maddox on tonight, SDPB. His podcast is In Play. I saw you were talking Legion Baseball on In Play.
Yeah, that was the last one of the season, my last podcast of the season. 100th anniversary of the start of Legion Baseball, and it all started here in South Dakota, up in good old Millbank. And we talked to some of the folks up there of what it was like, how it got started, and I think they just happened to be in the right place at the right time for Legion Baseball to begin. And now you've got hundreds and hundreds of Legion baseball programs in America and in Canada, but it all started right here in South Dakota 100 years ago. So go to sdpb.org/inplay, and you can not only check out that In-Play podcast, but all of them that I've done for SDPB.
That's a good one. Legion Baseball, that's the state tournament, is in Watertown next week, and Post 22 just punched their ticket today, and other teams doing the same. Craig Maddox, it's In Play, SDPB. Craig, enjoy the weekend. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. See you.
Thanks a lot. Craig Maddox on, getting us started. SDPB, longtime sports broadcaster from Sioux Falls. Craig in tonight. East River meets West River, his podcast on Legion Baseball's latest episode on In Play. All right, let's get an update on the question of the day. Craig says he kind of likes storming of the court. Didn't sound like he liked that blue-haired grandma, but he kind of likes storming the court, and so you gotta You can't take all this fun away, but the Activity Association probably worried about the bad things that can happen. So what do you think of their new idea? They're going to read it next week at the board meeting. First reading, new policy. If fans storm the court at state events before the awards, $1,000 fine paid to the other school. What do you think of it? Good plan or no go? 605-720-1067. Text us your answer to the question of the day. We'll get Mike McFeely next from Fargo, columnist for Inform. Great guest coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Calling all canners, picklers, and sweet tooths. Fleet Farm's got unbeatable prices on a wide variety of your favorite products. Like 12 packs of Ball, regular, or wide-mouth pint-sized canning jars for $11.99. Plus, take 15% off all Mrs. Wage's canning mixes. And don't miss out on 16-ounce bags of Fleet Farm gummy candies, now just 3 for $9.99. Stop in and stock up on these sweet deals at your local Fleet Farm. And check out our weekly ad for even more at fleetfarm.com.
The place that sells the best new cars and trucks is the place you'll find the best used cars and trucks. That place is Danny Meno Toyota. Shop better quality import and domestic models. Buy with no down and make no payments for 90 days. Plus, buy Toyota certified pre-owned with financing as low as 5.49% APR for up to 60 months. See us at Danny Meno Toyota or DannyMenoToyota.com. 1910 for 1,000 finance regardless of down. Offers with qualified credit. Expires 9/2/25.
Eating in Deadwood has so many options thanks to Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort. Wake up with the trusted taste of Starbucks or sit down to a full breakfast at Best Brews. Looking for lunch? Build a wonderfully fresh sandwich from Jersey Mike's. Grab some quick and cheesy goodness from Pizza Hut or pull up a chair in Patty O'Neill's Irish Pub. Need something a little more intimate for dinner? Well, Snitches is all the buzz with an evolving menu of chef-designed culinary creations. There's something for everyone to eat at Tin Lizzy Gaming Resort, located on historic Main Street in Deadwood.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Ever since Barron's Wilson Funeral Home first opened their doors in Rapid City 140 years ago, they have continued to make personal service their #1 priority. In your time of grief, they offer a personal touch by being at your side through every step of the funeral process. They answer difficult questions and guide you toward other professional services you may need. See for yourself the wide variety of services they can provide for you by visiting their website at barronswilson.com.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back in across the state. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live Thursday afternoon drive on Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show. Glad to have you on board. Remember, you can follow us and watch us live right now streaming on X at Nate Brown Show. And get ready. A brand new place to stream the show with video launching in August. Oh, yeah. I just threw it out. I'm not going to tell you exactly where and when, but we will. Hang on. Easy to get us right on your phone wherever you're at in South Dakota and beyond. You can even do this in North Dakota, Minnesota. That's where this guy hangs out. Mike McFeely, columnist, Inforum.com. Mike, welcome back on. How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to compliment you on your tease, as we call it in the business, in the broadcast world. You have to tease to your next segment and tease what you have coming up.
Not
and
bad.
That was a heck of a tease for the new streaming service.
All right, we're excited about that. Okay, I have a quick question. We're going to get to this FCS. I sent you a text. I said, how would you value the FCS football programs? Which football programs in the FCS are most valuable now? So I'm going to get into that first. A little high school sports question for you. It's my question of the day. South Dakota doesn't want court storming at their state events. So they put in a new policy. We're going to award the awards and the medals. Then the students can run out of the court after that's all over. We had a court storming last year in basketball, and so now they're looking at changing the policy even more strict. $1,000 fine for the school to pay to the other school if your fans storm the court. What goes on in North Dakota? Is this a problem?
What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Are you? I had not heard this. Are you?
Yeah.
Is it April 1st today?
No.
What?
No. So,
oh my gosh.
What's your read here?
Come on. You're going to tell kids to not storm the court after they win a state championship, or after their team wins a state championship. You're going to tell them to sit on their hands in the stands so they can hand out some hardware for TV, by the way. I'm assuming it's a TV-driven.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I'm
Yeah.
making the subject a TV-driven thing. And then, after 15 minutes or whatever it is, 20 minutes, then you're going to tell them, okay, go storm the court.
Yes.
That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. So congratulations. Is it a South Dakota High School Association thing that came up with this? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Congratulations. Dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, we've been doing it for a decade that way. But now, since we had a state tournament game where fans did storm the court, now they're going to do a reading next week for $1,000 fine.
Yeah, again, dumb. Dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, so no problem with North Dakota court storming. You guys storm the court at all your state tournaments. It's all good?
Yeah, I mean, kids run on the court, or they try to. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I guess there has to be some level of spontaneity in the world today. I think it's different if there's a problem with violence or destruction or something like that. But I guess I just don't get that excited about it. To be honest with you, maybe they put up barricades in North Dakota as well. I don't know. It's the dumbest thing in the world.
All right.
Not let people storm courts, and it's like I said, it's a different thing if there is danger to the players or danger to the court or danger to the officials, but I don't think that's the case here.
Mike McFeely on tonight, columnist. Read his work at Inforum.com. He's here on the Nate Brown Show. Now, to the real news, FCS. I just decided to rank them just on my thoughts. You've covered the Missouri Valley and NDSU for a long time. I said the Athletic ranked the FBS programs most valuable. If you were to invest in them, this is the most valuable revenue, fans, brand, all of that. So I said, what about FCS? It's so top-heavy. What are the top 5 most valuable football brands in the FCS? I gave my 5. Your 5 are the same, but I think a little bit different order. So have at it. How do you do this?
Well, since you sent me that text and we had a little snafu with scheduling, I had some more time to think about it. I might throw a twist at you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Toward somewhere in here. But North Dakota State is obviously the most valuable brand in FCS and has been since about 2012 or 2011, whatever it's been. I think that one's pretty obvious. South Dakota State is second, I believe, just because of recent success I actually thought about that one a little bit because I think in terms of recognizability maybe around the country, are the Montana schools and even Montana itself, the Grizzlies, they still hold a pretty good sway, even though the Grizz haven't won a national championship in, 25 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Certainly Montana State in the last 4 years has vaulted itself near the top as well. And so I think those four, and I would say it's NDSU, SDSU. I might say Montana State would be third right now, and maybe Montana fourth. If you want to try to get into at this exact current moment. And when I texted you yesterday with my thoughts, I kind of put a long, dot, tried to indicate that I think far behind those four was the next one on my list. I originally had South Dakota, which I assume would be one of yours.
Yes.
As well. But after I thought about it, because they haven't participated in the playoffs for so long or ever, are we shortchanging Harvard and Yale? I know that they don't have success nationally yet in FCS, and maybe they won't because we just don't know where the Ivy League sits. But in terms of national recognizability, although in the current environment, Harvard's going through some things right now politically with the White House, so that there's that going on. But I mean, Harvard's a pretty big brand, and if you want to talk about a nationally known brand for the school, I think Harvard would have to be number one if that's just what you're looking at. If you're talking football, then I don't know where it fits in that list, but are we shortchanging the Ivies here because we don't think of them as football schools? I might slip Harvard in at number 5 just because I don't think South Dakota has reached that level yet where they've been successful. They clearly have built a solid program, but has anybody in Sacramento heard of South Dakota? South Dakota State for sure. NDSU for sure. I don't know if they've heard of South Dakota.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. So I'm going to ask you about USD. They were 5 on my list because I think they have elevated, and they haven't had longevity, but they've elevated lately. Do you think USD can stay in the top tier of FCS? I asked my audience this 2 days ago. Can they stay with SDSU, NDSU? I'm not saying they're as good, but can they stay in that top tier all the way now?
Oh, I mean, I think this year is going to be telling. I know that there are those who believe that the Yotes are not going to take a step back this year, even though they lost some really, really good players in the transfer portal. But I want to see what they have this year, and then certainly next year after Aiden Bauman graduates and moves on, to see if they can sustain it. I think the pieces are there. I know that the new head coach, Travis Johannes, is well respected in the halls of North Dakota State and around the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I know they have a great staff that was there, has been there for a few years. So I think they have the pieces in place. They certainly have an aggressive athletic director. They have some things going on in terms of the infrastructure in the department that are different from what I understand and the way it was under the previous athletic director. And so I think the president is very supportive of the athletic director and the head coach. And so I think they certainly have a chance, and especially in what the landscape of FCS is, Nate. And we've talked this to death. We've hammered this over the head for 2 or 3 years now. But there's just no James Madison's left. Eastern Washington has fallen off the map. Sam Houston's gone.
Yep.
All these schools that were up there, and people should not forget how good James Madison was. James Madison was about 1 centimeter behind North Dakota State for about 5 or 6 years there. They were really good. And so with them gone, the opportunity surely is there for South Dakota to maintain what they have and stay in the top 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of FCS for sure.
I see what you're saying. You sounded maybe, and I get that because I referenced Montana. I grew up watching Montana. They were the first FCS. It was Division I AA then, but they were the first powerhouse. And I never thought Montana would ever fall off. And I know their fans are great. Their support's great. They're still a big brand. But they even fell off here. I thought they would be at the top. So I don't think it's a done deal with USD. By the way...
That's a good point. I'll say this, though, that Montana... They never fully went away. I mean, they clearly fell. They had the rape scandal and that whole thing. Which, if that happens to any school, that's going to affect what happens on the field or on the court. But they were making the playoffs a lot of years. Maybe they weren't national championship contenders every year, but they've always kind of sort of been in everybody's consciousness. And so
yes,
and so I think South Dakota. Again, given the current landscape and given the conference in which they play and given what they've done there, I mean, I don't think they're going to go. They're not going to return to the days of going 2-9. I don't believe that. And you know what, Nate? The Missouri Valley Football Conference has changed. I wrote a column the other day.
Yes.
Out of the Missouri Valley Football Conference media days about Northern Iowa, and 10 years ago, Northern Iowa was another team that was about 1 centimeter behind North Dakota State. And prior to that, they were the kings of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. They won something like, was it 12 conference titles in 16 years or something in the Valley?
Right.
And so that has, they're just not any good anymore.
Right.
The Southern Illinois dropped off. Western Illinois, believe it or not, used to be very competitive back in 2008, 2009, 2010. Western Illinois was good. They totally dropped off the map before they dropped out of the league and went to the Ohio Valley. And so there's been a shift of power in the Valley. I'm getting way in the weeds here, but my point is that South Dakota used to be on the other end of that, and now those schools that were ahead of the Yotes have really dropped off the map in a lot of cases. And so I don't know who's going to pass them. Like Illinois State is there, I guess, but UND is, I think, going to be better under their current head coach, their new head coach. So I don't know if the Southern Illinois and the Northern Iowas are going to pass USD again.
Okay, Mike McFeely gave me his top 5 FCS brand values. I had the same thing pretty much. I put Montana ahead of Montana State still, just from the fan support. Yeah, I mean, I've been up there. Montana still, to me, is a bigger brand in Montana and in the country, even with Montana State being better now. Last one, Sacramento State, South Dakota State opener. Who wins?
Oh, I have said this privately to people. I may as well break it, my thoughts on the game on your show since you asked me. South Dakota State is going to steamroll them.
Whoa.
South Dakota State is going to destroy Sacramento State.
Oh, okay.
I do think the Jacks are bound to take a step back just because, again, of what they've lost in the poor life. They're not going anyplace. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the Jacks are going to be 2-10 or anything like that. I just don't think it's possible to maintain what they have been the last few years with all the experience and talent they lost. However, they're going to be ready for the game on the opener at Dana Dyko Stadium, and I think they're still going to be way better up front. And that's where the Jackrabbits and the Bison, and in recent years the Coyotes, that's why they're better than so many other teams, almost every other team, is because they're so good on both lines of scrimmage. And I just think Sacramento State is, they got all these transfers. They have all these alleged skill players. I'll admit I haven't seen any of them on film. I haven't seen them play. But I get the sense that South Dakota State up front for this game is still going to be just fine, and they're going to be highly motivated at home on that day to play a team that has FBS aspirations and call everybody else a JV teams in FCS and all that stuff. And then you factor that in with all the transfers that Sacramento State has. This is their first game as well. I don't know how they're going to react to that situation and to that atmosphere and to getting slugged in the mouth on the first series when the Jacks line up with them. I think the Jacks are going to roll in that game. I think the more interesting test, the more interesting game is going to be when SDSU goes out to Montana State. That's going to be a better test for both of those teams, both Montana State and South Dakota State, to see where they are with all the questions that both programs have, that all the programs have, because there's just been so much movement and graduation and transfers and coaching changes and quarterback changes and everything else among the top power teams in FCS.
John Gruden said, Sacramento State's coming for South Dakota State. You better be ready. The Hornets are coming.
They're going to be ready. They're going to be ready, Chucky. They're going to be really ready. And they're, they still have two pretty good tackles on their offensive line, and they have, they figured out the lines of scrimmage thing about 10 years ago, and they finally caught up to NDSU a 3 years ago. And even though with all the transfers and all the changes that the Jacks have gone through, I will predict, and I'll say it louder as the game gets closer, I believe they're just going to absolutely mash Sacramento State.
Wow, steamroll, mash, I like it. Mike
Crush,
McFeely.
Hammer, drill, pound,
I like
you
it.
name it, buddy.
Okay.
That's what they're going to do.
We'll talk to you again before then, I really hope. Appreciate your time as always. Find him at inforum.com. Columnist Mike McFeely, thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on. Mike McFeely columnist for inforum.com, live from Fargo. That was good stuff. Let's come back and go to Denver. We got to ramp this thing up quickly. James Marilatz at Broncos training camp coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Hey, Sioux Falls sports fans, there's a great new sports bar in Sioux Falls, Boston's.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
Are number one. So you can always Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Spine Center. The number one for major orthopedic surgery.
Santa came early. Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July event is so great, even Santa's shocked at the savings. Get 20% off plus no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. That means no payments till 2027. Renewals Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Santa's not waiting till December to get new windows and doors. Neither should you. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps 1 minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside. You don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Cold beers, summer cocktails, live music on the patio, a crew that treats you right, and yes, even a late night menu every Friday and Saturday night. When you're thinking summer in Rapid City, there's only one move, Murphy's. Visit murphyspubandgrill.com. Murphy's, a Rapid City icon.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly cloudy tonight with a slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 64. South winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 90. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Mainly clear skies. Tomorrow night, lows level off around 64. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 82.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show live Thursday edition of the program. Great guest lineup tonight. We've been popping already. Mike McFeely, really good moments ago, talking FCS and more. Mike just went off on high school storming the court in South Dakota, went off on South Dakota State smashing Sacramento State. Mike McFeely moments ago. Craig Maddock joined us as well, started the show tonight. Great guest lineup on the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline, powered by the Pizza Ranch. East 10th Street, Sioux Falls, also in Brandon, and 2 locations in Rapid City, home of everyone's favorite buffet, your locally owned and operated Pizza Ranch. On the Pizza Ranch Studio Hotline from Denver, James Merilatt back on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. He's with denversports.com, part of 104.3 The Fan. Out at Broncos training camp, just got underway. James, welcome in. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate your time as always, so let's get into this. I don't know if you're joking or not, but you said you've seen enough. You've got the record picked already, 9-8. Are you joking or are you serious?
Well, it's a tradition. It's now my 8th year of doing it. I try to make my prediction within the first 10 minutes of the first practice and see how accurate I can be. You know, it started off because I think we all stay down there. We watch 3 weeks of practices. We watch 3 preseason games. You know, you get used to watching the same guys over and over and over again, and you kind of get caught up in what the team is. And I think, you know, you're probably better off first blush. So I go with the ridiculously early first blush. But look, you know, 9-8 is another winning season. It's a game behind what they did last year. They beat a lot of non-playoff teams last year. The only playoff team they beat, other than the Chiefs JV, was the Bucks in week 3. Otherwise, they lost 8 times to playoff teams. The division is so good. I even think the Raiders, with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, who was one of 6 4,000-yard passers last year, I think they're going to be better than people think. So it's just a gauntlet, and I think they could be a better team and have a worse record. So I think they're going to be 9-8, 10-7, 11 or 10-6, 10-7, 11-6, somewhere in there. I just got a little bit of that vibe as I walked in the place, so that's what I went with, Nate.
Very nice. Okay, so you throw it out there. You're not afraid to do that. We know that. Find him on X. You can follow him at James Merilatt. He's live from denversports.com covering the Broncos at training camp. So 9-8 is the record. That's your prediction early. Sean Payton's been at these pressers, and I saw a question that was asked to him, the expectations, I mean, they're really high and, a lot higher. Is this different than last year? Sounds like Sean's like, oh, yeah, and that's good. I mean, it sounds like Sean thinks, and I don't know what he's supposed to say, but I get the feeling Sean Payton thinks this is the year. He said, by year 3, this is where we wanted to be. What did you think of that?
Yeah, no, I think that there are expectations. I think they're fair. It's the first time since 2014 they've returned the same head coach and quarterback, which is a shocking stat. And I think that, and I wrote a column about this on Monday, and people took it as a negative, and it's not. That I think there's pressure on Sean Payton. He's turned this thing around. He took over a 5-12 team. They went 8-9. Then they went 10-7. It's like, okay. But really, he's 18-17, including the playoffs in his 2 years here. He's gotten everything he wants. They ate the $85 million in dead cap with Russ. They drafted the quarterback he wanted. They've spent a ton of money in free agency. The pressure becomes, hey, you're expected to win now. And if you don't, people are going to ask, well, why? And they're going to ask, what do you need in order to win? Because you got everything you want. What else do you need? I mean, this is a defense that some people are ranking as the best defense in football. So they've added some weapons. This is the year where it really should take the next step. If they regress, let's say I'm off by a game. Let's say they go 8-9, and he's 26-26 through 3 years of his 5-year deal. 60% of the way in, he's 500. That's not going to look like a very good investment at 5 years, $90 million. So I think there's pressure on him to win. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's a heck of a lot better than coming in of like, geez, if we could just end this streak of losing seasons, if we could just end the streak of not going to the playoffs, if we could just play meaningful games in December. I mean, I'd never heard the bar be so low in the Mile High City, so it's a good thing that expectations are high. But with that comes pressure, and Sean Payton doesn't seem to be rattled by it by any means.
What do you think we're going to see from Bo Nix? You say you make predictions, so this is early. It's just started out there. You guys are out there. The fans are going to show up this weekend, I guess, but the media's been given some access here to the Broncos' first couple of practices. What do we see with Bo Nix? Hard to tell, I'm sure, but it's something that he had a nice year last year. He really caught fire in the last half of the year. What do you have a feeling on Bo Nix?
Yeah, I don't buy into the sophomore slump. I think, by and large, that's kind of a myth. I mean, you know, people will say, well, C.J. Stroud had one. It's like, well, they won their division and went to the playoffs, won a playoff game, and had the Chiefs on the ropes till they lost a receiver on a gruesome injury in the end zone. So it's like, well, if that's a slump, I'll take it. You know, Justin Herbert had a crazy second year. You know, all the best quarterbacks in the league right now didn't have a sophomore slump. I don't anticipate a sophomore slump from Bo Nix. It's not as though he started off hot last year, then people figured him out and he tapered off. It was the other way around. He started off really slow, like historically slow, and then played his best football toward the end of the season. So the trajectory is going up. I think it's going to continue to go that direction. I think he's going to have a nice year. Now, one thing, and you know, you never know because you're watching the Broncos play the Broncos here, so is this a good thing or a bad thing? But they can't seem to protect any of the quarterbacks at this point. There are defensive linemen in the backfield constantly. You know, sometimes it's the names you would expect. It's Zach Allen, it's Nick Bonitto, and sometimes it's Q Robinson, who looks like just a beast out there. So I think that's one thing to watch is, hey, they got to make sure they can protect him. Let's see if they can run the ball better. Quinn Miners talked today about how it's a philosophy change. Well, does the philosophy change mean that, you know, Sean Payton's going to run the ball in a bigger font on his play sheet, or is it a schematic thing? We don't really know what that meant, but he did say there was a philosophy change when it comes to running the ball. So we shall see. But I think Bo Nix is fine. You look at him, you know, he passes the eye test. He just has that look of like he's the guy in charge. That's his team. I think they're fine at that position.
Okay, Nick Bonitto, you just mentioned him. Young guy, really came on last year. He was asked about his contract. He said, yeah, there's people working on that. Where do you think that lands? How good is Bonitto? Is he the next, like, well, this is the guy you have to keep?
I think he's the guy you have to keep because it's so hard to find an edge rusher. I think other than quarterback, it's the most important position in football. And when you get a guy that looks like he's the real deal, you got to do all you can to keep him. You know, is he Von Miller? No. Is he T.J. Watt? No. But, you know, he's pretty darn good. He's gotten better every single season. He looks great so far. Again, been kind of unblockable through 2 days in a very short sample size, very small sample size. So to me, he's the number one priority. I think he's number one. I think Zach Allen is number two. I mean, they've already paid Zach Allen once, so, you know, rewarding him doesn't seem like as big of a need. And I think interior defensive line is as important. Jonathan Franklin Myers kind of falls into that same category. I put Cortland Sutton last. I mean, there's a reason they haven't given him a big deal. I think they know he's a good player, not a great player. They've already paid him $55-60 million. I don't think he's lived up to that. I don't think he's lived up to his big contract. So I think you've overpaid him through this point. Overpaying him again doesn't seem like the right move. So if he decides he wants to turn his what looks like a hold-in into a hold-out, I think you just turn the page and move on from Cortland Sutton.
How much are we going to see J.K. Dobbins, the new running back, pick up? Is he going to be healthy? Is he going to be a player?
He's been running with the ones so far, which isn't surprising with the rookie behind him, and I think he's going to be the guy to start the season. I think it all depends on R.J. Harvey. I think that's their long-term plan. If he's ready to go in September, I think the J.K. Dobbins era is pretty short. I think if he takes a little while to figure out pass protection and to be trusted by, you know, Sean Payton, Bo Nix, Joe Lombardi, and everybody, I think we're going to see some more of J.K. Dobbins. But he's the ultimate insurance policy. You just don't know how long you're going to have to play him. But no, he looks good out there. He looks, you know, healthy. That's the beauty of July. Everybody's healthy. He looks quick. He's got a good burst. So I think it's his job for now. And unless he does something to falter or R.J. Harvey shows he's a rookie ready to go, I think it's going to be Dobbins out of the gate.
James Marilat's on, covering the Broncos training camp today. DenverSports.com for his work. since you're into early predictions, Broncos week 1 at home, 7.5-point favorites against Cam Ward, his debut for the Titans. Broncos 7.5. Is that right?
Oh, I think that's a layup. That's a gift. I think the Broncos roll in the opener. I think they're going to get off to a good start. That week 2 game against it's week 2 against the Colts. I think it's going to be a little trickier than people think. I mean, if you remember, they beat the Colts at home last year here in Denver. But if Jonathan Taylor doesn't drop the ball at the 1-yard line when he's running in for an easy touchdown, that game probably goes the other direction. So I don't think that's going to be a layup, but I do think week 1 is a bit of a laugher.
James Merilat's covering the Broncos. Find him at denversports.com. Always appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you bet. Anytime. It's always fun.
Thanks a lot. James Merilat on tonight from Denver, covering the Broncos training camp. He's out there today. Live report on the Nate Brown Show talking Broncos. He has them going 9-8. A better team, but not quite as good a record, he says, from last year. denversports.com. Broncos, James Merilat in tonight. Hey, it's time on a Thursday. Are you ready? It's just getting fun now. Just getting fun. Happy hour is upon us. Every Thursday with our guest host, Rob Kegron. He's live next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Yeah, can I get the taco burger value combo? That's a value? I know it's a taco and a burger, but come on. Yeah, I can find a better value right across the street. No, not at the bait shop, at the gas station. I can get a South Dakota Lottery scratch game for as little as $1. You can actually win thousands of dollars. Almost enough to eat here.
Good fun. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly.
Could there be a better name? Auto Value Parts Stores. They aren't just about air fresheners or fuzzy dice. Auto Value Parts Stores are all about parts, auto parts, and advice. Pros who know auto parts with tons of tips when you need them the most. You want real value? Don't go to a place with a cute name. Go to Auto Value. Could there be a better name? I didn't think so. Your Auto Value Parts Store. We've got the parts, we've got the smarts.
The new Mr. Liquor 2 in Rapid City is the only place in western South Dakota where you can order an ice-cold brew in their adjoining Campfire Bar and enjoy it while you shop. Their summer specials include 175 bottles of Pendleton Canadian whiskey for $44.99, handles of Wheatley vodka on sale for $27.99, or save $4 off Screwball peanut butter whiskey, now just $26.99 for a $7.50. Price is good at the new Mr. Liquor 2 off Catron Boulevard next to Walmart, or the original Mr. Liquor on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
Hey, sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street is the newest indoor sports facility featuring 4 full courts. E3 Sports is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships and court rentals are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
What are you doing?
Just getting in the holiday spirit.
Isn't it a little early for jingle bells and Christmas in general?
It's never too early for Christmas. But Renewal by Anderson's Christmas in July sale just got me in the mood.
A window sale started all of this?
It's not just any window sale. It's Renewal by Anderson.
Okay, settle down. I'll get the ladder and we'll get started hanging the lights.
Renewal by Anderson's Christmas in July sale. 20% off every window and door. No money
2020, no payment and no interest for 18 months with approved credit. This means no payments till 2027. Hurry, the holiday savings end August 15th. Hassle-free, energy-efficient, low-maintenance windows with a professional fit. Renewal by Andersen uses Fibrex windows, keeping your home cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter, and reduces your energy bill. They do windows. They're the experts. No subcontractors. For a free in-home estimate and a perfect fit, go to RBARapidCity.com. That's RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Andersen, when only the best will do.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, welcome back in. Second hour, ready to go on a Thursday. The Nate Brown Show live. A little bit of moisture, right? We've had a little bit of moisture, but it's always a great day in South Dakota, across the state on Fox Sports Radio. The Nate Brown Show is on. Rob Kegron is in. This is Happy Hour on a Thursday, presented by Que Pasa Mexican Cantina. You're home for the best margaritas. They got a deal. You know Rob's on the radio, so get your deal on your margarita. Just one. You don't need a bunch. Just one, okay? And then go from there. Downtown, Rapid City, Main Street. Your place for the summer. Out on the patio, great place. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina downtown. It's Happy Hour on the Nate Brown Show. And sad news today, Rob. I was throwing out the show topics to you, and we had news break with Hulk Hogan passing away, 71 years old. I've had people respond like, hey, you know, I used to watch wrestling and stuff like this. That was me. So I was a wrestling kid. I haven't been a wrestling adult for I don't know how long, but I wonder if I had sons, if I would be watching it, because I do have a nephew who's been into it. Because I was like, the wrestling thing's like over, right? Hulk Hogan was the man. He took wrestling on his shoulders to another level. If you think wrestling, what's the number one name you think of? It has to be him, no?
100%. He brought wrestling to a different level. You and I, we've said this many times on the air, we're contemporaries within like a year of each other's birth. When we were kids, Hulk Hogan, I mean, you could argue was as big as some of the best athletes that we ever watched in terms of popularity, right? Popularity. I mean,
because wrestling was big then, too.
Oh, it was massive. Like, you know, Saturday mornings you'd watch wrestling, right?
Yep.
You'd have like a bunch of big pay-per-views during the year. Like not every single month. It'd be like 4 a year when we were growing up. And you would build up to these things and there'd be so much drama leading up to them. And these were big, they were big personalities. And it wasn't as if now where there's like 200 wrestlers in the WWE. Like you can't, there's no way to keep track of them all. There was like 10 or 20 really big ones, right?
Okay, and I went like WCW on TNT.
Yeah.
Because I used to go on like Wednesday night, and you had Sting.
Yeah.
You had
Ric Flair was WCW.
Ric Flair was huge.
Yeah.
So Hulk Hogan crossed over into these two, like WWF, WCW, WWE.
Yep.
Hulk Hogan, a massive name. He passes away at 71. So you were a wrestling kid.
Absolutely. My brother and I loved watching it. We had all the action figures. We had the ring.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too.
We loved creating our own little Royal Rumbles in that ring and basically fighting each other to see which of these guys would win. And he and I are only about a year and a half apart, so it was always a lot of fun. But yeah, we watched a ton. And I'd say I even watched it a bit, probably until I was, 18, 19, 20. And then it just got to be a little bit too much for me. You kind of grow up and you have other priorities that come out. But I have great friends, and I think you tapped on a point there. I have one of my best, maybe he is my best friend in the world, from New York. He has a son, and it's kept him absolutely into the wrestling because they watch it together.
See, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, I haven't watched it for forever. I have daughters. They if I turn that on, they'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I might tell myself that at this point.
Yep.
But it was all fake. It was all goofy. It was great entertainment. Hulk Hogan, really good entertainer. He was like Michael Jordan to basketball, right?
Yeah,
that's fair.
absolutely.
You have to put that in there.
100%. He brought wrestling from a very regional, niche kind of, I don't want to say sport, entertainment really, than anything else, and made it widespread, popular, and mainstream. He did all of that basically himself with the idea of Hulkamania and his American pride, and particularly, in those late 80s, early 90s, Desert Storm, right? There was a lot of pride in America, and you have this guy who's just basically preaching America is great, and he's a wrestler, and he has this amazing blonde hair and pulling the shirt off and just play into the crowd.
I never saw him without the bandana. I mean, the blonde hair. Was that just fake here at the end? I mean, I've never seen him without the bandana.
Well, he was bald, right? I mean, at a very young age. The bandana was really more to protect his bald look. But, I mean, clearly there's no way that was his natural hair color all throughout his life.
I would be
pretty wild.
I would be jealous. By the way, did you go to a live event ever? Wrestling, a live event. You're from New York.
Yeah, few, actually, probably 3 or 4 different ones at Madison Square Garden. I never went to like Monday Night Raw or anything like that, but some of those like Saturday events for sure. We went at least 3 or 4. Went to it at Madison Square Garden. Also went to it at Nassau Coliseum.
I went to one in Billings, Montana. I mean, it doesn't come by much.
No,
it was a WCW event. That was the real deal. The Steiner brothers.
Yeah.
I knew one of their relatives.
Wow.
From Montana, and so she got us in there. We got great seats on TV. We had signs, and we had our signs torn down.
Yep.
They took our signs down. Why? I mean, it wasn't even that bad. I was in high school. Give me a break, okay? We all make mistakes. By the way, let's get into this. Speaking of mistakes, I want to start at the NFL. Training camps are popping, Rob, so it's almost football time. The Bengals owner is talking about contracts. You're a business guy. You know sports. I like this business side of this thing, and I'm going to side with the Bengals owner. His first-round pick still not at practice. Shamar Stewart, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. It's not over, I want to be paid more, because the rookie deal's the rookie deal. You're slotted pick number 17. Here's what it is. We got it. It's over guaranteed money that if I have a violation of the ethics code, if I have some trouble off the field, I don't get my money. The Bengals say, yeah, we want to keep that caveat in there. We want to keep that asterisk in there in the contract. We don't have to pay your money if you're in jail. And the owner of the Bengals said that. I don't want to pay the guy if he's in jail. How do you read this?
Well, 2 ways, to be honest, Nate. Number one is, Mike Brown, who's the owner of the Bengals, from the famous Paul Brown family. I would say he doesn't have the best reputation in the NFL.
Right.
I mean,
would agree.
Generally a cheap guy, right? A lot of times have let players go and not re-sign them, not done a whole lot in free agency, let coaches stay a long time because he didn't want to pay him off, right? So he's not a guy who's going to fire the coach with 3 years left on his deal because he's not performing up to par because he didn't want to pay him. So there's that. But in this case, I think he's absolutely justified, right? I'm pretty sure I read this correctly, and if you read something different, please correct me. But I'm almost positive that 31 of the 32 NFL teams use this kind of, they call it default language, right?
Right.
That if you were to go to jail, if you were to violate, some kind of ethics or get arrested or get proven guilty of something, they could void your contract and not pay you. I think the only team that doesn't do it is the Baltimore Ravens. If they're all doing this, what does Shamar Stewart think he's going to get? Like, everybody else is signed, right? The only person that's getting hurt in this is Shamar Stewart. The Bengals will find a way without him, right? He's never played a game for the Bengals, right? They will find a way without him. I think you're a first-round pick. I don't remember when this default language kind of creeped its way in and it's become the norm, but it's the norm, right? Your union is a complete mess, right, Shamar? Right? Your NFLPA is a complete mess. Yep. You don't even have a leader right now. You don't have a leg to stand on. You want to, if you're not going to do anything wrong, sign the deal.
Seems dumb to argue over it if I'm a player. Like, well, I still want that money, even if I do get in trouble. I deserve that money. I think most people listening to this show would say, he doesn't deserve the money.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to pay a guy that's in trouble that, you gave this contract to play, not, hey, I guaranteed a deal no matter what?
There are morality clauses in all kinds of fields, in business world, there's in almost everywhere now. If you sign a contract, there is some kind of language in there of how they can nullify the deal if you do something inappropriate. So why on earth would we think it'd be different in football where the stakes are so high? You're getting paid millions upon millions of dollars. You're a first-round pick. The team has basically, and I think this is the point behind this, the team has invested its future in you, right? And
big pick.
There is a risk there, right? If you do something that gets you in trouble and you can't play, I don't think they should have to pay you. Absolutely not. And they're going to protect you if you get injured, right? We're talking about an ethics, morality, criminal kind of thing.
Morality clause. That's interesting. What about if you go to a Coldplay concert and you're getting I didn't want to bring that up. That got a little dicey. I wonder how that clause was. Let's come back on the Nate Brown Show. It's Happy Hour with Rob Kegron in. We're just getting started on a Thursday. So ESPN trying to make another deal. Is this going to make your football season better? Coming up.
This is South Dakota's.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Santa came early. Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July event is so great, even Santa's shocked at the savings. Get 20% off plus no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. That means no payments till 2027. Renewals Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Santa's not waiting till December to get new windows and doors. Neither should you. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
What do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Rapid City forecast. Slight chance for storms tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 64. Southerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance for storms tomorrow, daytime highs approaching 90, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, lows level off around 66. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 80.
And 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 1 bomb, 50, money get 250 here, no 75, 275 now, 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we are committed to improving the lives of our members and bettering our communities. As your community credit union, we're here to get to know you and your unique needs. From extended service hours to the newest technology, we have you covered. Stop by any location to get started or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is member-owned, not-for-profit, and federally insured by the NCUA.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Hey, you found us, South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. It's Thursday Happy Hour on The Nate Brown Show with Rob Kegron live in studio. Glad to have him. It's presented by Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, downtown Rapid City on Main Street. Great place for summer. Take the friends, take your family down to Que Pasa, downtown Rapid City. Listener text coming in, 605-720-1067. That's how you text the show on the Barron's Wilson text line. You should ask Rob if the Jets season is over with Justin Fields dislocating his toe and getting carted off the field today.
Well, he did get carted off the field, but they came out after the x-ray in the afternoon and said that he avoided any kind of serious injury, and he's day-to-day. I mean, it's a dislocated toe, right? Like, it's not like he broke his foot, right? I mean, he's probably they're gonna be very cautious early in the training camp, but no, the season isn't over. I'm not sure that they have much to look forward to. I mean, who knows what Justin Fields is, right? Like, we've seen him in a little bit of spurts with the Bears. The first few games with Pittsburgh, he was, I'd say, decent or, effective. Maybe he turns into something, but I think Aaron Glenn said in the press conference today that he felt like there wasn't a step down if they went to Tyrod Taylor. So I think they're both mediocre quarterbacks at their best, right? So
the Jets can't be that good.
Right. Yeah.
They can't be that good with either guy.
Their defense is decent, that's for sure. You would think, could that be an 8-win team? Yeah, probably. I think they're an 8-win team. No more than that.
Really?
Oh, you don't think they're an 8-win team?
No, let's send them further down the line than
6?
that. I mean, my Broncos are going to be like 9-10.
Okay.
And the Jets are going to be 6. I'd put the over-under at 6. I haven't checked Las Vegas, but when it comes to the Jets, I'd put it over-under at 6. And now with your Giants, by the way, Russell Wilson's going to be your starter. They just named that already. Thank the Lord. I mean, we're trying to think Jackson Dart's going to be the guy. Russell Wilson's going to start for your Giants. And then it was a beauty yesterday. Jackson Dart, first day of practice, first pass, a pick 6 from your boy, Jackson Dart. I hope you enjoy it.
He's just starting, Nate.
It's first pass at training camp. It's a pick 6.
And it's training camp. I mean, we're really going to put that much stock into his first one.
I wouldn't throw a pick 6 out there in the first play.
You wouldn't even get a pass off. They would deflect it, or they'd sack you before you even got 3-step drop. Are you kidding me?
That's unbelievable. So that's a story
You're
to come.
such a hater.
I told you not to do it, and you guys did it, and it's going to be. And then you got Malik Neighbors over there not getting open, and then he told Russell Wilson to throw it further. He pointed to Russ. Throw it further. Yeah, I'm listening to you. Anyway, this is going to be a fun season with the Giants. I've got you pegged, and we're going to have a lot of fun. By the way, this is coming up on NFL Network and NFL Media. They're saying there's a deal to purchase the NFL Network and the Red Zone channel by ESPN. So this means ESPN's getting close to acquiring. This is a big brand. NFL Network, NFL Media, the Red Zone channel. The deal's saying in the reporting that they're going to put it on the direct-to-consumer app called ESPN. So what do you think? ESPN nearing a deal. You love the Red Zone, right?
Yeah.
Is that you? I thought you loved the Oh, okay. That's Matt Kearney.
Yeah.
You like watching games. You have all the games on. I'm not a huge Red Zone guy either, but people love this.
Oh, it's wildly popular.
Some people think ESPN's going to get their hands on Red Zone and just mess it up. Is that true?
I don't think they will mess it up. I think what they're doing is very strategic. I think it will come at the expense of the consumer, let's be honest. That's almost what all of these things turn out to be. They need to have more to offer to get people to buy. I think they're looking for $29.99.
$29.99. Yep.
If you're going to pay $29.99, you got to offer some real value. And I think if you said, well, we have this Red Zone product, there are plenty of people who would pay the $29.99 just for that. They would pay it.
That's
right?
pretty good.
And
then they won't cancel it right after football.
They'll forget.
Right.
You and I talked about this, I think, last year, right? How many these subscriptions we had to have for games. Paramount Plus we needed for a game. Peacock we needed for a game. Amazon. You forget that you have the things, and then all of a sudden it's like May, you realize you have it. You haven't watched it in 4.5 months.
Right.
It's like, well, I might as well just keep it. I'm going to need it in September anyway, right? And you do, and they get your money. Right? And so I am not a Red Zone guy because, like you pointed out, I like watching 8 games, right? I have 2 TVs set up. I have 4 boxes in each of the TVs. I watch all 8 games at 11 a.m. And obviously later in the late window, I usually don't have to watch 3, 4, or 5. It's not that hard. But I like seeing the games as they develop rather than just seeing the scoring.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
People love the Red Zone, and I'm with you. I think if ESPN gets this, they're valuing it at about $2 billion. That would be the deal that they're looking at, about $2 billion. NFL Network and Red Zone. Is there any concern that, ESPN then has control? They've got a deal with the NFL. They own NFL Network now. Is there any control, too much control?
I don't think so. And the reason I'd say that is think about all of the negotiations over the last, say, 15, 20 years, probably even a little longer than that. What is the NFL Network? Probably early 2000s when it came out. Because I remember Rich Eisen leaving ESPN to go basically be the head of NFL Network, at least on camera. And think about all of those negotiations. It's not as if the NFL is just given the best games to NFL Network. They've certainly set aside some games for the NFL Network,
right.
But they're never premier games. Like they haven't gone out of their way to prop that network up. So it's not. They're not going to do the same thing now, right? ESPN's going to have to pay for everything that they want to get. I think, if anything, Red Zone could become even more popular when it becomes an ESPN product.
Why would the NFL do this? I don't think the NFL Network's been a money-making thing.
No.
It's been a money loser. But I'm just wondering why the NFL would be, I guess we just need to take the money and run. They got plenty of money.
Have they ever said no to a buck? They look for every opportunity to renegotiate deals and squeeze every penny out of these networks. I mean, think about it. Like, they had a deal, right? The broadcast deal that's going on now, I think it's probably about 5 years old now, and I think it has 4 or 5 years left.
Yeah.
And they have found a way to sell off games, right? To basically, I don't know if they put a clause into these contracts or they're weaseling their way out, but selling a Friday night game in Brazil to Amazon Prime, selling the Black Friday game to Amazon again, selling a game to a streamer during the playoffs. Like, they find a way every year to find more money. $2 billion, they're not going to say no to it.
ESPN looking like they could get the NFL Network and the Red Zone channel, and then they put the Red Zone channel on this ESPN direct-to-consumer app. They're just launching for $30 a month, and they need people to get it. That might be a big kicker. Listener text coming in. Nate, I'm a Vikings fan. Other than the Vikings game, my device never leaves the Red Zone channel on Sundays.
And I know I have a ton of friends that's exactly the way they watch football. They park themselves down at 11 a.m. and they love when they get 3 boxes, 4 boxes, if they ever get an octo box, right? Like, they love the idea that they're seeing all the scoring. It's not my way of watching football, but I'm also gambling a lot on these games, and I don't want to just watch the scoring plays.
I haven't been in on the Red Zone channel. I don't hate it.
No, I think and that Scott Hansen does a tremendous job.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy notorious for not taking a bathroom break. He's standing there the whole time for 8 hours, in and out of games. We're both media guys. The coordination that it takes, obviously he has a lot of producers helping him, but the mental focus it takes to bounce from these games and not make big mistakes is tremendous. He is an absolute pro, and anytime I have watched it, I've got a kick out of watching him. I just prefer to watch the games.
It's well done, and we'll see what ESPN does with it. They're trying to get the deal right now. The Nate Brown Show is on its happy hour with Rob Kegron, presented by K-Pasa, downtown Main Street, Rapid City. How about one more NFL hitter? Would you hire this coach? People are saying he'll take an NFL job. That's the only job he'd take. But I'm wondering if you would hire him next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
Santa came early. Renewal by Anderson's incredible Christmas in July event is so great, even Santa's shocked at the savings. Get 20% off plus no money down, no interest, and no payments for 18 months. That means no payments till 2027. Renewals Acclaim and Ensemble lines are the best of the best. Santa's not waiting till December to get new windows and doors. Neither should you. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
do you call a place that's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait? There's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside. You don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on, and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
Resort welcomes you to the Days of 76 celebration and our Not Our First Rodeo Progressive giveaway. This Friday and Saturday night, we'll draw for cash and promo play winners every half hour, starting with $300 at 8 p.m. Then, every hour after, the total increases by $100 up until midnight when someone will win $1,000. This Friday and Saturday night, only at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your night play out?
Host your next big event at the Box Elder Event Center, now featuring all new lighting, enhanced sound, and cutting-edge AV. Your destination for conventions, conferences, weddings, tournaments, concerts, and private parties of all kinds. Plus, their gourmet catering isn't just for on-site events, they'll deliver straight to you. Don't miss the Pickle Boo Pickleball Tournament October 24th to 26th, and Fall Hoop Fest November 7th to 9th. Learn more and book today at thebox.live.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, we got a lot to cover tonight. Glad you're a part of the program. If you miss parts of the show, go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We put it every night. We put it up there on Apple, Spotify, Amazon. Search The Nate Brown Show, and you've got the podcast. We've had a great show this week. Mark Gronowski yesterday, Jack's quarterback who won national championships, and now he's at Iowa. We had an exclusive yesterday with the Iowa Hawkeyes quarterback, Mark Gronowski. Catch it all on the Nate Brown Show podcast. It'll go up tonight. It's Happy Hour with Rob Kegron, presented by Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, downtown Rapid City. Great place. Love that place. Que Pasa, downtown Main Street. So there's this big, I just call it conspiracy theory, in sports. There's all sorts of conspiracy theories in our world today, but in sports, I think this is, just hoping and wishing and people talking in July about it. Nick Saban, if Nick Saban wanted to come back and coach, Rob, it would be with the NFL. So, but I got a question here. Bill Belichick wasn't good enough anymore, and Bill's crusty and old, and he's got this kooky girlfriend now, but Bill couldn't get any jobs. He was trying to get jobs. He couldn't even get a job. He had to go to North Carolina. But all of a sudden, Nick Saban, who's also older, rigid, tough, failed in Miami. Now we act like people be knocking down doors. That's the talk this week, knocking down doors to hire Nick Saban. So which is it?
Well, I think there is a difference between Belichick and Saban in the fact that Nick still went out, near the top, right? His teams were still wildly successful towards the end of his. I mean, they didn't win a championship, but they were making the playoffs, right?
Yeah, and college. This is college.
Okay, but Bill Belichick's teams the last couple of years were not doing well at all, right? I mean, they couldn't get out of their own way, and so.
Well, I would have given Tom Brady. That's kind of a deal.
Fair enough. And I would have given Belichick a chance. If I were a team, if I were the Atlanta Falcons 2 years ago, and you said I can have Belichick or Raheem Morris, I'm going to take Belichick, right?
Yes.
I absolutely would have taken Belichick. But fine, they decided not. My point to you is there is a difference. Belichick was coming off of a couple of really poor years, and Saban wasn't. Now, that being said, no, there should not be people banging down the door for a 73-year-old coach. And I think Saban is one of the best of all time. And I think if he would have given the NFL another run, he might have been successful the second time around. I wouldn't do it now, though.
You would not do it. So the Browns, let's say the Browns tank. They're terrible. They have a chance here. Jimmy Haslam, he has ties with, hey, we could get Arch Manning, we could get Nick Saban. That's the plan, the big picture plan. You wouldn't hire Nick Saban.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't hire him. My point would be he would be not the first choice I'd have, right? At that point, he's out of football for a couple of years. He hasn't been in an NFL scenario in how long, right? I mean, when was the Miami failed experiment? Like, what, 2010, something like that? Maybe even a little before that. It was right around that Drew Brees time. So I don't know that that's a guy who fits right into an NFL system and can make your team legit. And let's be fair, you hire him, he's 74, he has to develop. I don't care how great Arch Manning is. It's going to take a few years to develop the guy, right? So now you're waiting until the guy's 76, 77. How many years are you really going to get out of him? I don't think that's the best path. Do I think it's possible that could be successful? Yes. It wouldn't be my number one avenue to go down, though.
I find it interesting that I just tied it in with Belichick, and you say, well, Belichick faded, but he had all these Super Bowl titles, and he had that plan. So if he gets into a better situation than even he had in New England, now he created that.
Yep.
You had Tom Brady, and you lost him. You didn't fill that whole thing, and it went downhill. But you give Bill Belichick a chance, and nobody would. I find it interesting that people are saying, well, Nick Saban might get a chance.
Yeah. I do think it's a bit of a stretch, and sometimes you wonder with these things, is it one team that just threw that out there? Is it a feeler? Is it Saban just seeing how much interest he'd really have? A lot of times these stories come out for a lot of, I wouldn't say nefarious reasons, but they're pointed reasons, right? They're trying to figure out, is there any kind of real interest on either side? I don't think he'd have a ton of teams trying to go after him.
It's so interesting. I don't think Belichick's going to do great at North Carolina, and I think Saban's a college guy. I don't know if he'd do great in the NFL. He sure didn't do good in his debut with the Dolphins. It was a different time. Coming right back on the Nate Brown Show, we wrap up the show with a question for Rob Kegron. Would you punish this Little League baseball player? This is probably Rob Kegron. He hits a homer. He flips the bat. He was flipping the golf clubs last week in that member guest. What would he do with this player next?
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Calling all canners, picklers, and sweet tooths. Fleet Farm's got unbeatable prices on a wide variety of your favorite products. Like 12 packs of Ball, regular, or wide-mouth pint-sized canning jars for $11.99. Plus, take 15% off all Mrs. Wage's canning mixes. And don't miss out on 16-ounce bags of Fleet Farm gummy candies, now just 3 for $9.99. Stop in and stock up on these sweet deals at your local Fleet Farm. And check out our weekly ad for even more at fleetfarm.com.
It was only a few in the beginning, one here, one there. I knew it was illegal, but I liked doing it. Even my kids noticed. There's nothing worse than your 10-year-old telling you you're breaking the law. But I didn't hit the breaking point until I hit that little kid.
Addiction has many faces. Texting and driving when you know it's life-threatening and illegal can be one of them. Take back control. Put the phone down.
Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, the South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Celebrate freedom all month long at Spearfish Motors. New GMC Sierra Light Duties with savings up to $6,250, or choose 0% financing for 36 months. Drive away in a new GMC Sierra HD with discounts up to $3,750, or explore the rugged new GMC Canyon with up to $2,000 in total savings on select models. Spearfish GMC Cadillac. Shop anytime online at spearfishmotors.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Slight chance for storms tonight, otherwise mainly cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 64. Southerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance for storms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 90. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Partly cloudy tomorrow night. Lows level off around 66. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 80.
Where can you get surprisingly great rates on auto and renter's insurance? At State Farm. I'm State Farm agent Matt McCormick, and I'm your one-stop shop in Rapid City for protecting your car and your stuff for surprisingly great rates. So stop looking around. Call me, State Farm agent Matt McCormick, for surprisingly great auto and renter's rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
When you combine Western South Dakota's largest selection with low prices, it's easy to see why more people choose Mr. Liquor in Rapid City. Their summer specials include your choice of Bud, Bud Light, Coors Light, or Coors Banquet Beer, just $12.49 for a 12-pack. Save big on Smirnoff Vodka, now only $11.49 for a 750. Or take $5 off 750s of Jefferson Bourbon, now $29.99. Price is good at the new Mr. Liquor 2 off Catron Boulevard next to Walmart, or the original Mr. Liquor on the corner of West Chicago and Sturgis Road in Rapid City.
Imagine this, a bank that is committed to you, that understands your needs, your values, and your growth. No more settling for the status quo. Pioneer Bank and Trust offers tailored solutions, innovative services, and a team of experts dedicated to your success. You deserve more attention and more support from your bank. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
We only have 3 minutes left. This has flown by. Hope you've enjoyed the Thursday program. Thanks for being here and making the show possible. The Nate Brown Show across South Dakota is on Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, and Rob Kegron in each week on a Thursday with Happy Hour presented by K-Pasa, downtown Rapid City, your headquarters for summer. All right, before we go, there's this video that's made national headlines. I'm watching CBS Morning News. Yeah, I'm 70, but anyway, it's okay. I mean, come on. I'm watching it. It's on. I see the Little League story. This guy, this kid, 12 years old, playing in the New Jersey Little League semifinal. He hits a homer. He flips the bat. It goes high. I mean, he flips it. He gets ejected, and that means he misses the state championship this weekend. So, New Jersey Little League player suspended for the state championship. It's gone to court. I don't know if it's been resolved. Has it been resolved?
It's been resolved during your program so far. I actually saw the story before I walked into your studio. The judge threw out the suspension, and he's letting the kid play.
Whoa!
Yep.
Okay, so Rob Kegron, you're the judge tonight. Before we go, do you let him play?
Absolutely. I let the kid play. 100%.
Matt Kearney said no yesterday. I disagreed. I had people argue with me. I had people agree. You got to let him play. He's learned his lesson. He didn't know the rule. He flipped the bat. He didn't. I mean, no harm, right?
There was. I will say it was a very obnoxious bat flip. I did watch the video. He threw it very high, and it absolutely is dangerous to throw a bat that high. But you teach a kid a lesson. If he does it again, I could certainly understand a suspension. But why is it on the first offense? The first offense, we're going to suspend the kid. We're going to eject him and suspend him. Eject him? Okay, fine.
Eject him, I was okay with.
I'm okay with that, too.
He did it. Eject him.
That's the lesson you learn. You don't get suspended on top of it. That's a little severe.
I got people saying, well, rules are rules. I had somebody say, Lister text, this was a friend of mine yesterday. He said, you're soft. Rules are rules. He's done.
The judge apparently said that they've had other cases like this, and they haven't always suspended the kid. And so because they haven't applied that rule universally, he had to throw it out.
And guess what? Whenever we take a Little League baseball story to court, you know you have to step back and say, let's just cool it.
Yep.
Can we just cool it? Let's not take Little League baseball stuff to court. And they did. So he's in for the state championship.
Tonight, I think it is.
Okay, so he's in. I'm with the judge. Rob Kegron and I are in agreement. Matt Kearney's still going to be upset, but it's okay. Thanks for listening to the Nate Brown Show. The podcast is getting ready to go up tonight. Really good guest lineup all week long. Appreciate you listening. For Rob Kegron, it's Nate Brown. The podcast going up now.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.